Marshall.
We're Martin's Heritage, and you're listening to 101.7 Love FM.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the award-winning show, The Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. And a special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, yes, listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, understanding the catastrophe bond and the Barbados relief effort to Jamaica. And in the second watch, our new and higher categories of hurricanes in our future. What do the studies show, or what might they be saying? For our social media question, we ask, what are your thoughts on even the possibility of there being a stronger hurricane, or a strong hurricane stronger than Melissa? Share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, also on WhatsApp, 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your response later on the program, but first, as I quote.
All right, good morning, good morning. Today's I quote says, worry is a waste of the imagination. And this one is attributed to Walt Disney, Adam Grant, and a person named Ruth.
Who is Ruth?
I couldn't tell you.
Ruth who? Ruth what?
I couldn't tell you.
No, man, they have to finish that. They have to tell us Ruth's surname. Good morning, Jukal.
Good morning, good morning.
Good, interesting. I quote the first watch. We'll be back after this break.
Eternal Father.
Right now, our brothers and sisters in Western Jamaica are hurting. Homes have been destroyed. Families are struggling to start again after Hurricane Melissa.
Love 101 FM, the family station, is calling on you to join hearts and hands in love in action.
You can make a difference today by donating cash or kind to help rebuild lives.
We're collecting non-perishable food items,
Bottled water,
baby supplies,
hygiene products,
toiletries,
cleaning supplies.
bedding, tarpaulins, and small household items.
Drop off your donations of cash and kind at Love 101 FM or participating partner churches island-wide.
Every can, every package, every dollar helps bring hope to the hurting. Together, we are Love in Action. Love 101 FM,
The family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are now in the first watch now as Jamaica continues to, pick up the pieces? Yes. After Hurricane Melissa, we're reminded that rebuilding takes more than manpower and prayer. Certainly if you're trying to recover from something like this, you need finances, you need money. And an instrument that is to help us to recover financially is the catastrophe bond. And of course, one can just see and realize that the money is needed right now. So it is to help Jamaica to bounce back financially from the ravages of this recent hurricane. Now let's try to unpack what this catastrophe bond is and to hear In addition, how Barbados is helping us in the relief effort post Hurricane Melissa. And our guest is actually from the neighboring island of Barbados. His name is Reverend Dr. Patrick Tannis. He's a banker and a policymaker. Reverend Tannis, Dr. Tannis, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. And Stokeley, you know you're a Bajan too. You know we want to let it out. What are we too?
I can't stand you, man. I used to be Asian, man. You know, you're from that gap down there.
I know, man.
The
But
listeners
listen,
are hearing my Barbadian accent. They didn't know about
amen. But Stokely, listen, man. We listen. The love strong. The love is strong. The prayers are strong.
Yes.
Today we are all Jamaicans.
We're all Jamaicans today.
Yeah. Listen,
Yes.
the Bajans. I had met with the UN NDP head Limia, resident rep here, just before the storm, and she confirmed to me that
Yeah.
everything was in place to do what needed to be done, because we knew our brother/sister island, Jamaica, would have been hit, right?
Yeah.
And we in Barbados thought it necessary to prepare ourselves, churches inclusive, to respond immediately. So we're talking about the government, our beloved PM. She was totally with it, and everybody here is on board to this day. It is a hot topic. Every business, as my wife is the head of the private sector, but she just stepped down because she did 2 terms, and you can only do 2 terms. They wanted to do it to a 3rd term.
Yeah.
She is galvanizing, and she is seeing, watching, and sitting over an entire national process, churches, businesses, government, to send immediate and continued aid to our family in Jamaica.
Well, before we get into the catastrophe bond, you have already started. Tell us more about what Barbados is doing, in addition to what you have just said in terms of the relief effort.
Yeah, so I mean, I set up, as you know, a link between our gospel station that I established in Barbados and you guys through
Yeah.
Kathy Gale,
Yeah.
the phenomenal Kathy Gale, I must add.
Oh, yes, our
And-
producer here. Yes.
Yes. And so the head of Starcom Networks, Life 97.5, before, during, and now are talking to our stations. So we're getting reports, and the business community, led by my wife, all of the business sectors, including the banks, everybody is responding. Their collection points. I mean, we have this. If you've been to Barbados and Stoke, you know this word Shafet. Shafet gave thousands of dollars just for
Yes,
water alone.
a popular establishment, sort of like our KFC here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one is a homegrown one. They give upfront, literally within days, they give thousands of dollars just for water, which are sent already on their way to you, right? We've got airlines moving stuff for us over to you, right?
Yes.
We've got a series, and this is interesting because there's a hospital, that's a mobile hospital, commanded by Colonel David Clark of the Household Cavalry of the royal family. And he is a colonel in our defense force. And
Okay.
he literally was there the day after the storm. Don't ask me how he got there. Those guys move at a different level. But he was there setting up a mobile hospital and mobilizing forces and troops, right? From Barbados, from the US, from the UK. We even got from Israel a plane full of stuff. And listen, because of who I am in the apostolic network, my colleague, this is my colleague, all right, Franklin Graham with Samaritan's Purse. We let him know early o'clock, and he has been there with his plane, a 767 full of goodies, and it's going to be back and forth between the US and Jamaica. So the church, the business community, the government, we have a UN warehouse here full of aid, full of needed pieces that could have been stored over time, from canned foods to toiletries to, beddings and inflatable beddings and tents. They're all on their way. That's from our prime minister. She negotiated with the UN to have a warehouse here in Barbados that would be the place that will store for the entire region. And so those things were put in place and are actually en route constantly. So it's a constant flow of more than 28,000 tons, I think, per week coming to you.
So you're the warehouse hub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
And
are
listen, the
grateful
love is
for.
strong.
We
I
are
can't tell you how
grateful.
much we love you guys, right?
Well,
Jamaica is pivotal to the Caribbean. Jamaica is the almost like the pivot point. We cannot let Jamaica suffer. We cannot. The culture,
grateful.
the people,
Understand.
the links, it's too great, you know?
Having been to Barbados, having lived in Barbados, I understand Barbadians do in fact love
Bad.
love Jamaica. If you even
Love.
travel on a minibus, you're only hearing Jamaican music. It's everywhere. You know, when you get on the ground in Barbados, the love is very strong. Thank you very
Strong.
much, sir.
Even thinking of Jamaica brings tears to my eyes. I have to come and also just show up and direct more traffic to you if necessary. But
Yes,
certainly we have our people on the ground, including yourself, Stoke, and of course Kathy.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for first of all outlining what Barbados is doing for Jamaica, private
Yes.
sector, church, etc., etc., etc. I don't know if you want to switch gears a little bit and put on your finance hat. The catastrophe bond. Can you, for instance, outline to us, just generally speaking, what
Yes.
is a catastrophe bond?
Yes. Now, wealthy people have tons of money, billions of dollars. So what they do is they put these funds together. There's these smart finance guys, who come up with these. They see risk. Wherever you see debt, there's potential for profit, right? Wherever you see a credit, there's a debit. There's this duality of money. And
Yes.
that's the first thing we start with, right? So an insurance company acquires, right, risk by going out to people and saying, okay, here's cover for you in the event of a storm.
Yes.
And so the insurance company becomes more or less the front for this type of potential catastrophe. So
Okay.
you have insurance linked securities. And under that category of insurance linked securities, you have these catastrophe or CAT bonds, right?
CAT,
So,
CAT.
CAT.
Yes.
So a CAT bond, I need to tell you about a brilliant Jamaican who has seriously done some amazing exposure for this type of bond, right? Nigel Clark, right?
Dr.
His name,
Nigel.
Dr. Nigel Clark, a great Jamaican, a great one of us, a
Not
one of
in
us.
the island, not working in the island, no, but yes, he's now with the IMF. Yes.
Yes,
Deputy Managing Director.
he's good friends with a classmate of mine, Kelvin Dalrymple, who was director of the World Bank, who was vice president of Moody's, and Kelvin and I were speaking of Dr. Nigel, a great man from among us, right?
All
And
right.
so we hail him this morning because he did some extensive work on designing, developing, and bringing to the minds of the people clarity on this. And of course, the finance guys like me, the core bankers, we understood it from the start. So what would happen is that
There is also, I've also heard the position, I'm not too sure, I don't pretend to know everything. I've heard the position that the catastrophe bond as a concept, as an instrument, had existed already. But it would have been Dr. Clark, who I suppose you want to elaborate?
yes, even though the concept, I mean, the Bible says nothing is new on the planet, right? But
Yes,
when
yes.
you have a pioneer like Dr. Clark, who is the man who put this thing, if you want to say it, on the map, he is the one who's championed this bond. So finance generals like me would say that the person who is the owner of the cat bond concept at this level is actually Dr. Clark.
Hold that thought for us, Reverend Dr. Tanis, because I see where we're upon a break already. Never
Okay.
enough time on the morning watch. Very interesting conversation. Listeners, please stay with us. We will be right back on the morning watch.
Time is now 7:15 a.m.
Ho, ho, ho! And what would you like for Christmas?
A paint tough enough for my messy grandkids. Perfect color matching for my living room.
Paint that covers in fewer coats, a finish that stands up to sun or rain,
BH Paints has you covered. Now up to 25% off.
Be one of the first 200 monthly to register on championsofcolor.com and get a free gallon of BH New Ultimate Advanced Formula. No purchase required.
All I want for Christmas is BH Paints.
Discount available at BH Paint stores and participating hardwares. We know you're making every dollar work harder, choosing carefully, buying what you need, and making it stretch as far as you can. That's why Grace is giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets. It's our way of helping you sweeten moments together, share more meals, and take care of the people you love. Make a good move with 20% savings from Grace.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch having a very important discussion with Reverend Dr. Patrick Tannis from Barbados. He's a banker and a policymaker. The topic is understanding the catastrophe bond and the Barbados relief effort to Jamaica. Well, he has already outlined the Barbados relief effort to Jamaica in terms of what that island is doing for us, private sector, churches, etc. Now he is helping us to understand the catastrophe bond. Reverend Dr. Tannis, what is a catastrophe bond? You were explaining. Please continue.
Yes. So that bond is a capture of funds from the wealthy, and sometimes in the billions. It could be as little as 25 million, or as much as 5 billion, 5.6 billion. You can have several layers, but what they usually do is they go into the billions, right? At least 1 billion. But then they have a layer where there's like a 500 million layer where they don't want to exceed, where that is applied to the actual area of risk and then the actual catastrophe area that has been struck. So they don't just drop everything and put it into that storm or that earthquake or whatever disaster there is. But what they do
in the Jamaica case,
yeah,
I know that I'm intervening, but in the Jamaica case, sure, you want to outline for us what is our current situation.
So your current situation, in the event that there is a catastrophe bond for you, yes, what it would do is they would drop the funds into a relevant agency, most likely through an insurance company or an entity that represents government. It goes into the community. There's an assessment by those assessors, and then they apply. There are certain metrics that apply, but certainly you get money to fix roofs, money to do things. Now, on a large scale,
money goes to the government of Jamaica.
It could. Now there are management components to how the bond was formed, okay, and then how the bond is distributed that are specific to the bond. In the event of a Jamaica case, if they have had that and it is linked to the government doing the distribution through, for example, the Ministry of Housing,
yes,
they could do that, right?
Okay. And I realize you're not speaking specifically about everything about the Jamaica bond. You're speaking in general terms.
Yes, because every bond has, these captions and so on, that unless you see it in your hand, the
yes,
actual paperwork, you can't speak to it, yes, and you're a lawyer, so you know why I'm saying that. Yes. So you can only generalize unless you see it for yourself. You eyeball it, as we say, and see the specifics. But if for example, the insurance companies can access it, then they will put their assessors on, and it will be fast-tracked that way. The Ministry of Housing or whatever agency in government exists to do the distribution, the setup, and then the application, that would be used, right? But in both cases, I can tell you this, in a case where there's emergency like this, there can be no doubt that there will be a fast response either through government or through the private sector, through the insurance companies. The insurance companies can then do the back end of it where they do the assessment. But, there's obviously a loss, and this is important for people to know. There's a loss for those people on the principle of the input into the bond if the catastrophe is big enough. But if
Yes,
it
and
isn't,
we would have
yeah,
had a very big catastrophe here.
yes. So there
Yeah.
will be some losses for the investors, but that's not a problem, because if there is a loss, then the insurance company comes in and there's a buffer potentially, and then that insurance company should be able to find a way to refinance its exposure or the funds that come in through it. So there's a rotation of funds again.
I
So
see.
even the debt that's accumulated can be still addressed. So there's no real absolute loss, but there's just temporary losses along the way.
And of course, you mentioned roofs. Other people have issues. Sometimes entire homes have been, I don't want to say destroyed, but they're been rendered useless for the time being anyway.
Yes, yes.
Because, you
And
know,
you can have, and the way that to be honest, Dr. Clark framed his general concepts on it would
yeah,
be to fix those homes, all of them, right?
yes.
And that's the beauty of it. You can have that level of fix from literally from ground to ceiling.
Ah.
Yes. So I would recommend that. It was the perfect product for something like this.
I know time is of the essence here, but is there anything else you'd want to add so that we can get a fuller understanding of the catastrophe bond?
To me, it's an evening lecture where I would sit down and just take questions and answers, because it's such a wide financial
So wide,
product.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's a very wide product, and it has variations that are unique, right, to the bond fund itself. Even though catastrophe funds exist, for example, we have them in Israel, for example, for things like earthquakes in Israel that just were formed this month, right? But you don't really get that many earthquakes in Israel. So I'm just saying that for the one in Jamaica, there is this capability that was written into the Jamaican one that will be in future ones for the region, but it speaks to catastrophes relating to weather. And let me tell you, only a brilliant mind would have been able to put together this. It's correct preparation, because it takes care of the need that exists now from literally every potential homeowner that has had their houses leveled.
Well, I mean, just taking a look at least one international news source here, it's saying, and now it has been confirmed even in our local media, the payout expended it is expected to trigger is US 150 million.
Yes, yes. I honestly think it will be more. I think it will be more than that. Yeah, because when I look at the Black River alone and that area, I think based on my financial analysis, it could be as much as 300.
Okay.
Yeah, for the entire Jamaica.
I see. I see. Yeah. Well, of course. And by the way, a quick one here. Would it be more? Would the payout be concentrated? Would it be more in relation to the areas that were worst affected, including St. Elizabeth, because other areas of Jamaica have been affected as well? I don't know if you have that sort of a response, or you need to see the paperwork to answer that question.
I would say, right, that if you're going to write a bond policy, the policy would include the entire nation. But for immediacy, the relief effort would be concentrated on the worst areas affected.
Worst areas affected, understood. And payment could be expected in a matter of, say, days. How much time?
I would think that, you see, money is fluid. So as long as the systems,
paperwork, but I'm just generally speaking, in where there is an immediate need, what is the normal language in a document like that? Is it that you normally expect payment in maybe a couple of days, weeks? How long?
So I would think payment is immediate.
Immediate.
Yeah, I would think payment is immediate. I would also think, however, that even though money is moved, material can't be moved that quickly.
Exactly.
So that's the concern.
Yeah,
the material.
So a little bit of time gap between payment and being able to physically assist because you're waiting on supplies. Well, we're getting assistance otherwise as well. So, and of course, I want to quickly ask you if you can elaborate for us the distinction between the catastrophe bond, the Caribbean catastrophe, the one relevant to us right now, I should say rather, and the difference between that and the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. Let me just make sure to make myself abundantly clear. The distinction between the catastrophe bond, which you just outlined or explained to us, in general terms for the most part. And on the other hand, the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, otherwise called the CCRIF.
Well, I mean, I have not had face value to the actual documentation, but my mind tells me that what the Caribbean governments need to do, and Barbados was the first on the planet to do this, would be to write into every loan facility, including at the IMF, which Barbados successfully did, was to give some buffer so that if there is, God forbid, any catastrophe whatsoever, that there is within that space the ability to have insurance cover to facilitate a buffer and a space to allow for a recovery. Because if the country is shut down because of a catastrophe, you have to have cover one way or the next, whether it's a buffer where there's a waiting period and there's leniency granted, or there is a sense of insurance that covers the entire region to facilitate that buffer space through, some form of payment system that would be a more liquid form rather than a bond being broken and then a large sum sent somewhere to be distributed. Rather, there is a policy incentive through those agencies that we called just now to release funds into specific areas more readily, right? And you don't have to break a full bond, because when you break a bond, you don't just break it and start back. It's broken, it matures. So I'm thinking that there must be something within that space, and the entity does cover that will allow for a buffer period and some sort of payment system to support that period where there's no income earned, there's no revenue coming in, and then there is therefore a need for that buffer space to be filled with liquidity.
Well, I am seeing where it is indicated that the CCRIF established back in 2007, and it is described, interestingly, as the world's first multi-country, multi-peril risk pool. And of course, countries that are members can draw down on the funds. And it is intended to provide quick liquidity in situations of not just things that like hurricanes, but even earthquakes. So in our case, we should be getting assistance, it would appear, from both sources, sir?
I would think so.
And as well as CCRIF?
I would think so. And Stoke, let me tell you, right? You're a world-class attorney, right? I'm a banker. We influence policies across the world for other great areas, right?
Yes.
Our expertise areas are coming home. We're being given the freedom to write these things into being. I don't think anyone from anywhere else came and put that in place, but the policymakers saw a gap and a need and responded effectively. That's what's happening. Jamaica will be rebuilt. It will be a more phenomenal nation than ever before. And let me lastly say this, right? Jamaica, we are all coming there to be a part of the not just rebuilding process, but the unification of the Caribbean process. Let me just say this last thing. Jamaica is the face, the rhythm of the Caribbean.
The face.
Without Jamaica, there is no Caribbean.
The rhythm. Without Jamaica, there is no Caribbean. We have a couple seconds left. As a Reverend Dr. Tanis, but as a Reverend, the Reverend hat, in a couple seconds, what sermon would you leave with Jamaica right now?
I will say that a brother is born for adversity. There are brothers everywhere. That's the sermon from Proverbs, right?
Thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Patrick Tanis. Excellent way in which to end this discussion, this conversation with you, sir. We are grateful that you're with us today. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Listeners, viewers, please stay with us. We will be right back on the Morning Watch.
Start your journey with a JN Small Business Loan with small business loans as little as $10,000 and up to $4 million. The time by JN Small Business Loan is
7:30 a.m.
Praise Chapel Apostolic Ministries present the Glory to Glory concert on December 5th, 2025 at Lot 131 Catherine Mount, Montego Bay. Featuring Rhoda Isabella, international artist Lionel Teeth, among other top local acts. Gates open at 6 p.m. For tickets, contact 876-952-3668 or 876-840-6704. Part proceeds for the PCAM Kindergarten and Prep School.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud.
Save so you can make the park, travel park, graduate like a star.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are going to be taking a look at the newspapers to see what the Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. We have here in the Jamaica Observer, Superman in inverted commas, Superman surgeon cuts path to family. Neither blocked roads nor mud traps could stop doctor from reaching his wife and children in Westmoreland. This story by Dana Malcolm. We also have in the Observer a total and complete disaster. Tearful Campbell proposes adopt a family plan to help those most in need in Westmoreland Eastern. And this is in reference to the Member of Parliament, Dr. Dayton Campbell of the People's National Party. This story by Renee Osborne. We have in the Gleaner, we now turn to the Gleaner. Some Jamaican farm workers returning from Canada have lost homes. This story by Neil Armstrong, very unfortunate, coming back home from overseas to realize that your home is lost. And we have also in the Gleaner, hurricane fear hike. This now is a somewhat unfortunate story, very unfortunate, in fact, not somewhat, very unfortunate. Hurricane fear hike. Taxi operators slap residents of Melissa ravaged communities in St. Elizabeth with increased rates. This one by Laverne Barrett. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. Of course, coming up next, we will read for you some of the feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, what are your thoughts on even the possibility of there being a strong hurricane, stronger hurricane than Melissa? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses on our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp your comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
When we started this company, we were focused on helping people find their way. And when it comes to critical illness and life insurance, we're all about helping people find a way to live more. Like our JN Life Aid that covers your first diagnosis and is there in case of a second occurrence. That's how much we're invested in you living your life. Welcome to the art of living insurance from JN Life.
need to speak with an officer from the National Land Agency's Land Titles Division, the NLA's QME Flex appointment system allows you to consult with an officer from the Land Titles Division online or over the phone from the comfort of your home or office. Book your appointment today at nla.gov.jm. For more information, call 876-750-5263. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal to serve you better.
Eternal Father.
Right now, our brothers and sisters in Western Jamaica are hurting. Homes have been destroyed. Families are struggling to start again after Hurricane Melissa.
Love 101 FM, the family station, is calling on you to join hearts and hands in love in action.
You can make a difference today by donating cash or kind to help rebuild lives.
We're collecting non-perishable food items,
Bottled water,
baby supplies,
hygiene products,
toiletries,
cleaning supplies,
bedding, tarpaulins, and small household items.
Drop off your donations of cash and kind at Love 101 FM or participating partner churches island-wide.
Every can, every package, every dollar helps bring hope to the hurting. Together, we are Love in Action. Love 101 FM,
the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Now it's time for your feedback, for us to hear your feedback or your responses to our social media question. What are your thoughts on even the possibility of there being a stronger hurricane than Melissa? Chukal.
All right, thank you so much. We do have a response here, and this one is from Edna in Montego Bay. Let's hear from her.
Good morning, Morning Watch. Good morning, Love 101 listeners and staff. Well, my take on this right now is like, I will be surprised if they have a higher category storm, because even though they say Melissa was a category 5 hurricane, it seems to me like it is more than a category 5. And from I see Melissa damage, leaving part of Jamaica looking like the Walking Dead, I said, all right, they have to have a higher date. They're going to put up a higher scale for hurricane right now. How are we going to angle this? It's left to us. And no matter what we do, we can never fully prepare for certain disasters, such as hurricane and earthquake. So we can do our best to prepare for these disasters with the climate change and everything. Yes, we're going to have a higher level of hurricane, higher than category 5.
All right, that's Edna in Montego Bay. Thank you, Edna, for your responses. For your response, that is, yes.
Thank you. Well, it is understood that there is a new study that indicates that you can have a category 6 type hurricane. Well, we know that there is a Saffir-Simpson scale, which goes up to category 5. And of course, we have recently experienced Hurricane Melissa, and many persons are reeling from the effects of that hurricane. Now, let us have a discussion with someone on this matter, and someone who is trained, who teaches, lectures in geography and social science at the Shortwood Teachers College. He's a geographer. We are to have now to have a discussion with us, Bishop Paul Morris. Bishop Paul Morris, are you with us, sir? Bishop Morris? We seem to... Oh, are we having a challenge connecting with Bishop Morris? It would appear that we do not have him on as yet. Not too sure what might be happening. We are trying to connect with Bishop Paul Morris. Bishop Paul Morris, we are hoping that you are not suffering from the ravages of Melissa in terms of intermittent services of one form or the other, sir. Do we have Bishop Paul Morris on now? Not as yet. Not as yet. Because it has in fact been indicated that I think we're getting another signal. Oh, we're still trying to reach it. It has been indicated that there is a study which indicates that you can have as much as a Category 6 storm, where you can have winds above 192 miles per hour. And extreme systems like Typhoon Haiyan, or I should say Haiyan, my humble apologies, and Hurricane Patricia indicate same. And of course, if a hurricane is very high in terms of miles per hour, it's very scary, very, very scary. And some people are wondering whether our definitions of extreme weather are outdated. Maybe they need to be updated. We don't know. From Hurricane Haiyan and Hurricane, or I should say from Typhoon Haiyan and Hurricane Patricia to the recent devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa, albeit not the entire island, but certain portions of the island more to the west in particular, not saying nowhere else was damaged. These storms, or some might call them superstorms, are appearing to, as it were, rewrite the limits of what we expect from these sorts of things. Well, we hope to have on the geographer now. I think he's now ready. Bishop, are you with us now, sir?
Yeah, I'm with you online. Not able to connect just yet with StreamYard.
You're fine. You're fine on the phone, Bishop.
Okay. Sure.
That is technology as well,
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, man, that is technology as well, So.
Sure.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you very much for being with us today. So sorry that we took a while for us to have you on. Now, jumping right into it, sir. Hurricane Melissa made landfall here in Jamaica. The maximum wind strength we gather was 185 miles per hour. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
And, Category 5 hurricanes. I mean, at the moment, in terms of the Sapphire Simpson scale, it is up to Category 5. So I don't know if you have any comments in relation to that in terms of Melissa, Hurricane Melissa.
Yeah. So Hurricane Melissa would have been at the top end of a Category 5 hurricane. In fact, we have not had a hurricane of that intensity. The whole anatomy of that hurricane would have only been exceeded by one other hurricane, which since they've begun to record and name hurricanes in the history of meteorology. So it does point to the fact that we might need to review that scale.
What is the maximum wind strength for a Category 5?
I think that goes up to 100, and I think 100.
Because 190.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Okay, so I see. So, because Category 5 appears to start at 157 miles per hour.
Right. So if you look at 60, and we were we'd have exceeded the Category 5 by close to 20 miles per hour, thereabout. So it is not just a Category 5, but one of the strongest Category 5 hurricanes that we have seen on this side of the globe in the Atlantic.
But for clarity, Category 5s can go up to 190. You're indicating.
Yeah.
And we were at 185, so it would have been within the band.
Yeah, we'd have been within.
Hold that thought for a second, because I see where we are upon a break already. Never enough time in the Morning Watch. Listeners and viewers, please stay with us.
Okay.
We will be right back on the Morning Watch.
giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets.
The time that Grace could move is
7:45 a.m.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We're having a very interesting conversation with a geographer. His name is Bishop Paul Morris, lecturer of geography and social sciences, Shortwood Teachers College. Now, Bishop Morris, what's interesting is that it would appear as if in the field of geography, for whatever reason, well, certainly I have not located it, but that's why we have you here. They have not indicated per se a precise or exact maximum for a category 5. I don't know if I'm wrong or right, but that's based on what I have gathered. I am seeing it starts at 157, but it says 157 or higher. Higher up to where? Or higher up to where? It doesn't, I am not seeing where it says an upper limit, but you indicated about 190. So I take your word for it. You're in the field. So there's a conversation, or well, there's certainly talk that maybe there should be other categories. Why so?
Actually, the 157 would have been and greater would have been the category 5. Yes. However, researchers and meteorologists have suggested maybe a category 6 to begin at 190 and above, 190, 190.
Oh, okay.
So really, what we are having here would be a category 5, which is open-ended, which could mean that we could be in danger of not creating another category, because if you're experiencing the minimum, which is 157, if you're experiencing one, as we would have gone up to 80, that probably would underrepresent the damage and the danger of a category 5. So, however, there's no agreement as to what the cutoff point would be. But looking at things, it would make sense to consider another category, because it would give people an understanding of how dangerous or how significant more dangerous the other end of the scale could be. So, for example, if you're saying a category, a category 4, you would know the upper and lower limit and have an expectation, descriptive-wise, what to expect. So, with a category 5 open-ended, you can't even imagine what to expect if we should go further and further away from the 157, which would have been the threshold starting point of the destructive power of a category 5 hurricane.
Bishop Morris, I want to step back a little bit though. I want you to help us to understand, as a general rule, what causes hurricanes to increase in intensity?
Yeah. Okay. So what the research has shown, and this over maybe the last 20, 30 years, 20 years, is with the whole issue of warmer waters. So you know that a hurricane is a low pressure system, and what we mean by a low pressure system, the normal atmospheric pressure at sea level would be 1,013 millibars. So in the metric system, it's a bar. So 1,013 millibars. So that's normal. So as the number decreases, the millibar number decreases, the pressure decreases. So we're talking about our Melissa being I think it is 87, 1,000, it's about 87 millibars, meaning that it's an extremely low pressure system. Low pressure meaning that the air is rising from the Earth's surface. So the atmospheric pressure is the weight of the atmosphere on the Earth's surface at sea level, measured at sea level. So as you go up in the atmosphere, the pressure gets less.
Okay,
But
so help us understand for a second.
Yes.
The higher the millibar is the worse the hurricane, or is it lower the millibar?
No. The lower the millibar is the worse the hurricane.
Okay, so the lower the millibar is the worse the hurricane will be. So
That's
the lower
correct,
the
right.
millibar represents the lower pressure?
Right, lower pressure. And a low pressure means that the air has the ability to move away from the Earth's surface. It's not sagging, waiting down. It can rise. And rising air.
The lower the millibar, the lower the pressure, the more the air will rise.
The more the air will rise. And if the air is lighter, means that it is
the high winds.
So it now what it does is the air is able to rise. Rapidly rising air cools. And if there's moisture, that cooling produces condensation and then precipitation. So the hurricane really feeds on what we call thunderstorm. So if the air rises rapidly, cold air and warm air colliding produces the thunderstorm, the lightning and thunder. So in addition to that, the Earth is spinning. Okay, Earth is turning from west to east. That's how the Earth turns. So what happens? Any light air or air rising, anything moving off the Earth's surface will tend to be deflected to its right, or that means that it spins. Just like you see, sometimes you see some trash or paper just rise and spin around. That's a mini hurricane, a mini low pressure system. So that's spinning effect. So as the air rises away from the Earth's surface, the Earth is also turning in spinning as we get night and day, and that causes that rising air to spin in an anti-clockwise direction. So the more energy it has, okay, it's the more it can spin. And that spinning effect plus the rising air producing, so as air rises, it cools, and if it has moisture in it, it will condense, form clouds, cools further, produces precipitation, releases the heat, the rain falls to the surface, but that heat that is released after precipitation takes place is now available as energy to do more evaporation. So it's like a rapid cycle of evaporation, precipitation, release of heat, evaporation, precipitation, release of heat. So as long as that body of air is over waters that are warm, it will continue to reproduce itself. So it becomes a little system by itself, operating by itself, sucking up warm air plus moisture from over the seas, and that is what creates the vicious cycle of spinning. So the more heat it has, are you with me?
I'm listening.
Yes. So the more heat energy that is in that hurricane or that weather system, it will start with a tropical depression, the more energy it has to do evaporation, it is the stronger it becomes. So the case with Melissa was stuck in the South Central Caribbean for a while, and that's the warmest part of the Caribbean. Caribbean warmest area. It has no land masses around. It's a very large area, about the size of India, and that body of air, the disturbance was just over that area, just sucking up heat, building. It is recorded as one of the tallest thunderstorm systems or hurricane system. It went as high as almost to the top of the troposphere. Okay, that is the part of the atmosphere where we experience weather. That's as high as we're jet screws, like 30,000 feet above sea level.
Well, I want to ask you this quickly, Bishop Morris. I know that you're not, you're on the phone, but I see a question has just come in here.
Yeah.
I'll read the question to you. So, how in any scenario could a man-made hurricane be created, if at all? I've seen this question just came in here. I'm reading it as I see it here. Come in here.
Yes. Well, we do know that.
And I heard you laugh. Why you laughed?
No, because I have been bombarded with that question. My friends and people. Some have actually put it to me. They're not asking me to my opinion, and some have asked the same question as I would have been asked by the individual.
Oh, you've been asked this question before. Okay.
Oh, yes. Because once someone knows that you are familiar, they're going to ask you their opinion because social media churns out tons of information on.
Well, this is not a social media question. A question has just come in. This is not a social media.
No. I mean various ways. So I understand whether it's social media or not. It deserves a response.
Yes or no? Can it be done? Is there technology to do
No. Let me say no. But let me tell you what we know. What we know is that that we've been that we've been able to manipulate the clouds in what we call cloud
so there's no such thing as a man-made hurricane, but you can manipulate the clouds.
So for you can only manipulate the cloud if the cloud exists. You can't make the cloud.
Yes, but if the cloud is there, it can be manipulated. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, so if the cloud is manipulated, yes, the cloud is there, manipulated using silver iodide, which is a chemical, or dry ice, carbon dioxide, to create condensation nuclei. So for clouds to form, there has to be some what is called condensation nuclei, tiny particles, smoke, dust, pollen, they form that nullity around which water condenses. And billions and billions and trillions
only because of time, you're unfortunately can't into that detailed explanation there. But if you can in fact manipulate the clouds, manipulate it to do what?
Just to precipitate, for precipitation to take place, not wind. A hurricane happens when there is that.
What is precipitation? What is precipitation?
Rainfall. Precipitation means snow, anything that falls
to cause rain to fall
from the atmosphere to the earth. That's called general precipitation, which could be snow, hail.
Is that similar to seeding the
rain?
Questions because of time. I'm trying to manage the time.
Yes,
we have about a minute left. So is precipitation the same as seeding the clouds?
No, precipitation is falling out. The general to fall out. So snow can fall out of the clouds, hail can fall out, water can fall out. So the general term precipitation is what falls from the atmosphere to the earth's surface.
All right.
Right.
You had mentioned thunder and lightning in your leading up to where we are now.
Thunderstorms, right.
One thunderstorms, and one thing that has been indicated by some persons is that in the case of Melissa, they didn't hear any thunder and they didn't see any lightning. Any comments on that?
Yes. If you are in the speed of that hurricane would have obscured a lot of stuff. Also, the height of the hurricane. So there was intense lightning and near the eye.
So you're essentially saying it's possible that you can have a hurricane without hearing any thunder or without seeing any lightning.
Without hearing it, yes.
We have to leave it there today only because of time.
Right.
Because
I'm really sorry that I connected so late.
We're literally out of time now. So I want to thank you, Bishop Morris, for your time and for your thoughts today. We have learned a lot from you, sir. Thank you so much for your time and for your thoughts.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And viewers and listeners, thank you for being with us today. Join us next week as we continue the discussion of topical and controversial issues. Visit our YouTube channel and Facebook page and now TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. Listen to us by downloading our Love 101 app and stay connected to us, a family station, Love 101 FM, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing back to Love in the Morning with Chicago. Oh, I should have also said, my humble apologies. Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint should be back next week. Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint should be back next week. Thank you, listeners and viewers. This is the Morning Watch.
Experience the art of living insurance.